Okay, fine. So today's agenda is we will continue with the filter programs, and we will expose ourselves with a couple of more commands, and probably today and next session we should be able to find out the commands which are related to filter programs, and then we will go ahead with the shell programming. Okay, so far as filter programs are concerned, we have come across commands like head, tail. We have also seen commands like more, and we winded out with a very good command called as WC, right? And you are all aware of what exactly all these commands does, its syntax, and also its use, right? So let us continue with the filter commands. The first command that we are going to see today is called as tr command. Just make a note of it. TR stands for translate the characters. Translate the characters. Okay, don't go with the spelling. TR stands for translate the characters. Syntax is like this. TR followed by string 1 space string 2. That's the syntax of tr command, which stands for translate the characters. Make a note. This particular command does not accept file name as an argument. This particular command does not accept file name as an argument. Full stop. It takes input either from standard input device. It takes input either from standard input device or output generated in piping mechanism, or output generated in piping mechanism. Okay, so let us see how this particular command works. As you have made a note that this particular command does not takes file name as an argument, right? So just watch out. So tr followed by the string 1. So I'll just put it like this, double quotes, square bracket open, a hyphen z, square bracket close, double quotes. Okay, and then I'll give once again double quotes, square bracket open. Now this time I'm going to give uppercase A to Z. Okay, I will give uppercase A to Z. Correct. Now see the significance of this. TR is a command, this one, and this lowercase a to z, right? This hyphen stands for range. So a hyphen z means A to Z, right? And this is capital A to Z, that is uppercase A to Z. So this is an indication to the operating system that any lowercase character I type, please convert it into equivalent uppercase. Okay, so be careful. Any lowercase character I type, convert it into equivalent uppercase character. Okay, so this is the significance of this. Source string 1, that is string 1, which is the first parameter of tr command, gets converted into equivalent string 2, right? So every occurrence of lowercase a to z will be converted into equivalent uppercase a to z. Now what happens? The question is from where the tr command is taking its input. as you have already made a note that tr command will not take input from a file, and hence in the example that you see in front of your screen, you do not encounter any file, right? So when the situation is like this, tr command basically takes input from the standard input device. I repeat, when the situation is like this, what is like this? See, I have neither given a file name nor I have used piping mechanism. So under this situation, the tr command will take input from your standard input device, that is from keyboard. Now the question is, when will I or where will I give the input? Now the moment I press enter key, it is going to wait for me to type something. Watch out carefully, correct? So the cursor is blinking on the next line, waiting for me as a programmer to type something. Okay, so now watch out what I am going to do now. Okay, I have typed learning Unix filter commands. So this input is given to the tr command through standard input device. So be careful, right? This is a common question asked in Unix interviews. Now the input is given to the tr command through standard input device. Now the moment I press enter key, in this particular line, which line? Learning Unix filter commands is a full line. Whatever is this line, every occurrence of lowercase a to z will be converted into equivalent uppercase a to z. Means lowercase a gets converted to uppercase a, lowercase b will get converted into uppercase b, and so on. Okay. Now this happens the moment I press enter key, and hence the output will be reflected on your standard output device itself. Okay, watch out carefully. Correct. So this is how the tr command works. Let us take one more example. Now learning tr command. Right? It gets converted into equivalent uppercase. Now what will happen if I give uppercase itself? A, and then I give B. Nothing will happen. A will be retained as it is because it is already given in uppercase, but the character B, which is in lowercase, that will be converted into equivalent uppercase. Okay. Now you can do this as long as you want, and once you are done with it, you terminate it by pressing Ctrl D. Okay. Now, since you have not used any file, this entire stuff is not stored anywhere. Understand? Okay. Because you have not used the concept of file, these things are not stored anywhere. You have just given the input through standard input device, and you have got the output through standard output device. Okay. Now let us see how we can use the piping mechanism for this. So I have a file called as test and test1. So let me see what is there in test. Okay. All right. This makes some sense. Watch out carefully. I have a file test1 with the following contents. And as you can see the contents are all in lowercase. So what I want to do is I want to basically convert the contents of file test1 into uppercase, right? Since tr command do not take input from a file, right? You have to use a piping mechanism. How will you use? You just say cat test1, pipe it to tr. Now what happens? The contents of file test1 will be fed as input to the tr command, correct? You know the piping mechanism, how it works. So this content will be converted into equivalent uppercase. Watch out carefully. So here you have the content of file test1 in lowercase, and here you have the content of file test1 in uppercase. Okay, got it? Now I am going to display the contents of file test1 once again. Okay, watch out carefully. This was the contents of file test1. With this piping mechanism, I have converted the contents of file test1 into uppercase, and I pressed enter key. I got the output. Now I'm going to display the contents of file test1. Okay, hold on. Have a look at your chat box. So my question is, will the content displayed be in lowercase or uppercase? Okay, just reply. Will the content displayed be in lowercase or uppercase? (184), can you tell me in which case it is, lowercase or uppercase? Roll number 184. Roll number 17. Roll number 17. Roll number 184. (181). Yeah, what is your answer? Lowercase or uppercase? Okay, roll number 143. Okay. Henceforth, what we'll do is, I do not want anyone to answer. I will pick up a roll number, only that student is going to answer, because I think some people are trying to play mischief. They are they have just logged in and disappeared from the scene. All right. Okay, so basically what happens is you are just making an attempt to convert the contents in lowercase and try to display on standard output device. And hence what happens, the contents will be displayed in the lowercase format only. That is the original, in your original format itself. So the whole idea is, if at all you want to change the contents into uppercase and then you want to ensure it is also there in that particular file, then you use the redirection operator and then you store the contents in a particular file, right? So that is the only way you can ensure that the contents are available in the file itself in the form of uppercase. Okay, so this is how basically the tr command actually works. Okay, yeah, any doubt? Please post your question in the chat box if you have any doubt. Okay, so I have a question. Let us do like this. We give like this, instead of capital A to Z, I will give numbers from 1 to 26. Okay. Now watch out very carefully. One of the fundamental point to be noted here is this is A hyphen Z, correct? A hyphen Z. A is one character, Z is another character, and hyphen stands for range. So A to Z, that's the meaning of it. But here what happens, this one is one character, hyphen is range, and then what, according to you, which is 26, it is not 26 for Unix operating system. It is 2 and 6. Okay, so be careful. That is how Unix interprets it. It ensures that the source character and destination character is same. So, but let us see what happens when you give the command like this. I just type, right, and then I'll say 1, 2, 3, all these things. Right? Sorry. Okay. Now watch out. This is what it happens. Right? Every occurrence of A is given as 1. Got it, all of you? And then this 1 hyphen 26 is taken as 1 to 2. Okay, 1 to 2. So every occurrence of A will be replaced by 1. Every occurrence of B will be replaced by 2. Okay, so let us see A, B, A, B, A, B. Watch out carefully. A to B, there are two characters, A and B. Adadmele, 1 to 2, there are again two characters, that is 1 and 2. Got it? Now, let me type like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and let me see the output. Watch out carefully. Correct. A is 1, B is 2, and then what happens? C, it gets substituted as 6. That is 1 to 2 and then followed by 6. Okay, C will never get substituted as 3. So basically, when you write 1 hyphen 26, when this is the source string, this 1 hyphen 26 will only convert the first 3 characters. Yaudu? A, B, and C. A will be converted as 1, B will be converted as 2, C will be converted as 6. Rest all characters, since it is beyond the range of source string, it will get converted into square bracket. Okay, so be careful and ensure that your source and destination both are same. Good. Any other doubts, please? Okay. Let me do one more exercise. I just say tr ABCD. Okay. And then I'll say ABCD. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to convert 4 lowercase characters into equivalent uppercase, right? And then I'll say ABCD, EFGH. Watch out carefully. Only the first 4 characters will be substituted, or sorry, it will be converted into uppercase. Adbitti nenu agala actually. Okay. So B, C, D, C, D. Watch out carefully, right? So this is how basically the tr command works in Unix operating system. Okay, the next command is called as T command. Just make a note, T command, T-E-E. This particular command copies the standard input this particular command copies the standard input to standard output. This particular command copies standard input to standard output and file. Okay. Just before the session started, or probably just before I sent a message about the meeting ID and password, I sent you one pic about the T command, right? Just have a look at it. You have, you have command 1 on the left side, and from command 1 there is an arrow which goes to the command called as T-E-E, right? Now that command 1 can be any command of Unix operating system, any valid command. Okay, so we'll just look at that. So the output of that command 1 will go to T-E-E, that is the command of Unix operating system. And this particular command T will produce output in two places. One, it will produce the output in standard output device, and another one, it will produce the output on a file. Okay. Now if you just draw a horizontal line from command 1 to standard output passing through T, okay, one the horizontal line, no? And then one vertical line coming down from T command. It looks like your character T, am I right? It looks like a character T. Okay. Now let us try to understand this command. The first and the foremost thing is, using T command you can create a file also. See, so far you know two ways of creating a file. One is with the help of cat greater than and then followed by the file name. That is one way of creating a file. Another way of creating a file is you use your editor and you say vi file name, right? But now you can also create a file using T command. Watch out carefully. Okay, so let me check out. I have test and test1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file called as test2, right? Now if you create this file test2 using cat command, you know that the moment you press enter key, OS is waiting for you to type something, right? So let us create line 1, line 2 and press Ctrl D. Okay, so I'm not teaching you anything new, just recollected how to create a file using cat. But now I'm going to create a file using T command. The first difference is cat command uses redirection operator. The T command will not use redirection operator. Please understand. The first fundamental difference between cat and T command is cat uses redirection operator. T command will not use the redirection operator. Okay, that's the first difference. Now I'll press enter key. As usual, OS is waiting for me to type something. So what I do is I'll just say line 1. Okay, exactly similar to what I did here. Alwa. Now in cat command enaito, when you typed line 1 and pressed enter key illi, operating system was waiting for you. The cursor was blinking on the next line for you to type something, wherein you landed typing line 2. But there is the difference in the T command, and that is the second fundamental difference. In T command enagutte, as the definition says, that it produces output to the standard output device and file. Please understand, it produces its output in two places at the same time. One the standard output device and another one is it will go to a file. Now what is the file that we are referring here? Test3, alwa. This is the file that we are referring. The way we referred test2 in cat, we are referring test3 in the T command. So file concept is taken care. But what about standard output device? Standard output device is your monitor which is in front of you. And hence what happens, the next fundamental difference is the moment you press enter key, whatever you have typed earlier will come on the monitor. That is what is called as standard output device. Please understand, all of you. You look at that diagram once again. From the T command, there are two arrows which are going outside. The one goes to standard output device. Artha aita? The one goes to standard output device. Ido. The second one goes to a file, that is test3. Right? So this is the second difference between cat greater than and T. Now what I'll do, I'll just say line 2 and I just press enter key. I'll get line 2 again on the standard output device. I say line 3. Okay, and then I'll terminate this by pressing Control D. Right? Now I'm going to type cat test3. Okay. My question is that to all of you in the cat box, cat test3 will now display how many lines? 3 lines or 6 lines? So the cat test3 will display 3 lines. Majority of you were right, except one or two who said 6 lines, right? So understand why it is 3 lines. Cat, as you are all aware, that it will display only the lines or the text that is typed by the programmer. So illenagutte line 1 is typed by you, the first one, but this line 1 is given to you by the operating system. So new type mado concept ilbarutalle. Then you typed this one. This was given to you, alva. This is typed by you. This is again given to you. So this line 1, idu line 2, and this line 3 will be displayed here in line number 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So that is the meaning of T command, which will produce output in two places. One is standard output device, and another one is a file name. Okay. Now, since it is a filter program, I can also use it in as a part of the piping mechanism. Okay, so let me tell you, cat test3, pipe it to T test4. Okay, so what happens is the output of test3 is fed as input to the T command, and what T command does is it will produce the output on the standard output device, and also at the same time it will produce the output on a particular file which is called as test4 in this case. Okay, so watch out carefully. The file test3 has got these 3 lines, line 1, line 2, line 3, which is fed to T command. T will display these 3 lines on the standard output device, and at the same time it will store those 3 lines in a file called as test4, right? So let us check the contents of file test4. There is it. There it is. Okay. So that is how the T command and the TR command works with Unix operating system, right? Now before, yeah, there is one question. What if test4 file is already present? Good. If the file is already present, then it will be overwritten. Yeah, any other doubts? See, basic usage of T command is at the system administration level for taking the backup. Correct. So what we do as a system administrators is we run this particular command in the background as a background process, which will enable us to take the backup of the file by creating a blank file, right? Even in our absence. So that is one of the usage of the T command. Yeah, any other doubts? Yeah, okay, all right. I don't find any other doubts. Okay, that's good. So let us proceed with the next set of commands, right? So just make a note. Working with columns or fields. That's the heading. Working with columns or fields. right? Now, watch out carefully. Before I proceed to this particular concept of the commands that are basically used to work with columns or fields, let me pose a question which is normally asked in any interviews. And the question is, what is common between cat, head and tail? Okay, hold on. The question is, what is common between cat, head and tail? Please type your answers. Understand and then answer it. It's very, very important. What is common between cat, head and tail? Anybody can answer, no issues. Okay, 2, 3 of them have given the answer as it displays the contents of the file. That is okay. Somebody has said it displays contents of the file on standard output device. That is also fine, but that is not the answer. That is fine. I'm not telling it is wrong. But there is something which is very, very unique. Otherwise, there's no point in introducing this concept of working with columns and fields. Now, somebody says it displays the contents of one or more files. That is also fine. It uses file input. That is okay. The all answers given is right, but then what is expected is slightly different. Okay, fine. Anyway, no issues. Now watch out carefully. You know that cat command displays the entire contents of the file. Head command displays first n number of lines. Similarly, the tail command displays last n number of lines, right? Now, just understand, it's very simple analogy. If I have a file which contains 15 lines, right? Cat will display entire 15 lines. Alwa, line number 1 to 15. And then if I say head -5, it will display 5 lines, correct? That is line number 1 to 5. Artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, line number 1 to 5. And then if I say tail -5, it will display last 5 lines. Alwa, 11 to 15. Okay, so that is how these three commands work. But then look at this. Cat will display 15 lines. That means it will cut the file after 15 lines. Similarly, when you say head -5, it will cut the file after first 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adadmele, when you say tail -5, it will cut by keeping into consideration the last 5 lines. That means line number 15, that is line number 15 acts as line number 1, then 15, 14, 13, 12 and 11. Correct? So line number 11 mele, it will cut. So the common thing between cat head and tail is it will cut the file horizontally. Correct? Look at that. In line number 7, what I have written is cat 15 lines. That means horizontal line is drawn after 15 lines on Tartado, and it will display those 15 lines. Similarly, after 5 lines in head minus 5, it will draw horizontal line and display the contents which comes above that line. And same thing holds good with respect to tail command, right? So the common between cat head and tail is all these three commands displays the contents of the file by cutting the file horizontally. But some applications are there where there is a need for you as a programmer to cut the file vertically. There's a need for you to cut the file vertically. And whenever you want to do that, these type of commands will not help you. Cat, head and tail. So Unix supports certain set of other commands which are exclusively designed to work with columns or fields. I repeat, there are certain commands which are designed which will work exclusively with columns or fields, right? That's why I have given the title as working with columns or fields. Now the whole idea of this is it will cut the file vertically. It will cut the file vertically, right? So why there is a need to go for cutting the file vertically? Let us understand this. The first command is cut. Make a note. The first command is cut. Used to cut a character or a field from a file. Used to cut a character or a field from a file. Okay. The syntax is cut minus D double quotes delimiter minus C slash F. So that is the syntax. Cut minus D delimiter minus C slash F followed by file name. Okay, so that is the syntax of the cut command. Okay, now let us see how this cut command works. Now let us say I give you this particular file cat test4. Sorry, let us take some other file cat test3. Right now, I'll simply use the cut command on this particular file, and I say cut minus C1, correct, followed by the file test3. Okay, cut minus C1 followed by the file test3. Now what happens is C stands for character, right? C stands for character and 1 stands for the first character. That means whenever you give minus C1, it indicates that cut the first character of all the lines of file test3. Make a note. Cut the first character of all lines of file test3. Right? Now watch out. What is the first character of line 1? That is L. First character of line 2, that is L again. Correct? I'm talking about these lines. And the first character of third line, line 3 is again L. So let us see what's the output. I'll get L, L, L. Okay. Right? Now, before proceeding further, let me also have one more. I say 1, 2. Cut the first two characters of file test3. So when you make a statement like this, correct? Cut the first two characters of file test3 andre, all the lines of that particular file comes into picture. Okay. So whenever you say file test3 andre, by default, all the lines of that particular file, right? Which is as good as telling that cut first two characters of all the lines of file test3. Now I'll press enter key and see the output. I'll get li. Okay. Now, when you look at this output generated by this one, which is LLL, adadmele, the output generated by this one, li. Tell me one thing. What is it that you are going to get from these outputs, these type of outputs, L and Li? It does not make any meaning. Am I right? It does not make any meaning. And hence what happens is very rarely, unless otherwise it is required, very rarely we use these type of cut commands on ordinary files which are having just a plain simple English text. Okay. Very rarely we use this cut command on ordinary file which contains simple plain English text. Correct? And hence to have a proper meaning, to have a proper output with the help of these commands, correct? With the output generated by these type of commands should actually give some meaning, right? That is the whole purpose of all these commands of Unix operating system. So keeping that in mind, what happens or what is suggested is you go ahead with a different type of file on which these type of commands will work more effectively, and such type of files are called as database files. Take a note. These type of commands makes more sense. These type of commands makes more sense if it is used with database files. If it is used with database files. Okay. Now the question is, how do we create a database file? Okay. How do we create a database file? Right. So as usual, you create a database file with the help of VI editor. Watch out carefully. You again create a database file with the help of VI editor. So as usual, you'll be placed in command mode and then you have to go in insert mode and all those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a database file, right? And I will call that database file as class 5A. Okay. I'm going to create a database file called as 5A. Okay. So just make a note. Create a database file called class underscore 5A, right? Write down in capitals the name of the file, class underscore 5A. With the following information. With the following information. So this is going to be our database file called as class underscore 5A, and then we are going to store the following information. Okay, we are going to store the following information. What information? Employee ID. Make a note of it. The following information will be stored in this particular file. First one is employee ID. Then we are going to store employee name. Then we are going to store employee designation, then the company in which the employee is working, the location, right? And then we can also have the salary of the employee. Okay. So watch out carefully. So be careful with this. Let us go very slowly. In most of the time in your career, you will, in Unix operating system, you will come across these type of commands because you'll be working on a large files. So I have created a database file called as class_5a, which has got these informations: employee ID, employee name, designation, company, location, and then salary. I don't know from where this B came actually. Okay, so these are the informations that I am going to have in my database file. Okay, now let us see how we create this database file. So it's a VI class 5A. Okay, now how do we create this database file? It is as simple as how you have created a normal file. Okay, but the only thing is you need to tell operating system the difference between the two fields. Okay, Unix will never come to know the difference between the two fields unless you will tell. Okay, now what is the information that you are trying to store? Employee ID, name, designation, company, location, and salary. Okay, these things should not be written in the database file. It is an understanding available only with the programmer as to which field is what, right? You are not going to tell to the operating system through your VI editor. That is why these type of things are not very good on Unix operating system, right? Whenever you are working on a database projects, correct? Conventional database management system or more powerful tools like RDBMS, which are available, like some of the powerful RDBMS tools that are available are Oracle, you have Singres, you have Sybase, right? So these are some of the Ingress, Sybase, Oracle. All these are powerful database tools where you can do these type of activities. Unix is not meant for performing actions on database files. But then, in order to understand this commands like cut and another 2-3 commands which will come down the line, we have to create a database file. Okay, so we'll just create a simple small database file of probably 3 or 4 employees, not more than that. So the first one is employee ID. So what I'll do is I will type the employee ID as E001. Understand, all of you, right? I will type employee ID as E001, and then I'm going to type the next information that I want, which is the name. Okay, which is the name. Now morning I had asked some information if somebody is interested. So I'll just type their details. So after employee code, I'm going to type the name. This is the name I'm going to type. Watch out carefully. Understand this. Okay. So E001 is the employee code followed by the name Chandanashri, which is employee name. Now please understand this very carefully. E001 capital CHA up to double E. It is one continuous word for Unix operating system. And when it is one continuous word for Unix operating system, it is impossible for Unix to draw conclusion what is what. I repeat once again. Starting from E, got it? Starting from E, this one, this place, all the way till this E, it is one continuous word for Unix. and hence it is difficult until actually it is practically impossible for Unix to draw conclusion whether it is a code or the name of an employee or something else. And hence what is important is, or it is extremely important for you to separate these two information, these two fields, right? Employee code with employee name, right? And that separator is done with a option, or it is done with something called as delimiter in the world of Unix operating system. Okay, so just make a note. What is delimiter? Delimiter. It acts as a separator. It acts as a separator between two fields. It acts as a separator between two fields. The following characters can act as delimiter in Unix. Can act as delimiter in Unix. The following characters can act as delimiter in Unix. First one is colon. Second one is comma. Comma also can act as a delimiter. Then space can also act as a delimiter. Tab can also act as a delimiter. And the last one is pipeline symbol can also act as a delimiter. Okay, so these are the 5 characters which can act as delimiter in Unix: colon, comma, blank space, tab, and pipeline symbol. Okay, but for various reasons, correct, avoid using space, tab, because whenever you are keeping track of employee name and then you have your first name and the last name, and there is a blank space between first name and last name, the blank space will be treated as a delimiter, and hence your first name will become one field and your last name becomes another field. Correct? So that you have to take care as a programmer, but I always feel that colon is one of the best example of delimiter, right? So we will also use colon as a delimiter in our discussion. So what I do is I am going to go here and I will put colon here. Now watch out carefully. I have E001 followed by colon followed by Chandanashri. Okay, so the first text, that is E001, which occurs before the first colon appears, that is called as employee code, and then afterwards there is employee name called as Chandanashri, and then again after the name I will have a colon which acts as a delimiter, and I will put the designation which is tester. That is what Chandanashri wanted me to type, followed by the company where she is working. Chandanashri likes Infosys, so she is working in Infosys, and I think she likes Germany very much. She do not want to stay in Infosys campus either in Electronic City in Bangalore, or she's not interested in Mysore. So Chandanashri always wants to go abroad. That's what she was telling to me early morning today. So she wants to be in Germany, and then I'm going to put the salary. I did not ask, so I'm just putting salary as let us say 85,000 rupees. Okay, so now watch out very carefully. Forget about the example, right? That's only for our understanding. Look at line number 1 very, very carefully. E001 is the employee code. Chandanashri is the employee name. In between this employee code and employee name, there is a colon. That means this colon acts as a delimiter. And it's a good practice to ensure that the colon is same between all the fields. Okay, so Chandrashri is the name of an employee and designation is tester. So you have this colon again acting as a delimiter between Chandrashri and tester. Then between tester and Infosys, colon is there. Between Infosys and Germany, again you have a delimiter, and between Germany and 85,000 you have a delimiter. Okay, so this is how basically a database file is created. Let me go with one more. E002. There were only 2 students who had sent me. Next one is Brandon. Brandon is a big shot. He's a CEO of a company called as Infotech Ninjas, and CEO is a big shot. He'll have much high salary. So let us put as 2 lakhs. Okay. So only 2 people had sent me. So inevitably, I will put my name. I don't have, you guys have not left me option. Okay, so I am a simple guy. So ನನಗೇನು ಬೇಡ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು. Software engineer, which company I also work with Chandanashri in Germany. My salary is only 10,000 rupees. It's enough for me. Okay, so I'll add some more on my own. Since nobody showed interest, I'll going to add some students who are actually working in IT industry. I have this student of mine who graduated from PSIT. She's working in Amazon, and she's right now in California. Salary is pretty good, but then I don't want to disclose her salary, so I'll just put 11,000. Okay, slightly more than me because project manager is above software engineer. And then I have one more student of mine, Ms. Jain, who is also working as a tech lead. He's working in Intel. He's also in California. His salary is 12,000. All right. So both Rashni and Amit Jain were my students when I was in PSIT, and both of them are in US, well settled. Right. So yeah. So this is my database file. Watch out carefully. This is how a database file is created. Let us. Sorry. Right? So this is the database file. So when you look at the database file, you will see it looks little bit hazardous. They are not one below the other, but that is what Unix is meant for. Unix is not meant for beautiful touch-up, coloring, bold, black. Well, nothing of that sort. Because please understand, VI editor is an editor. It is not a word processing package. So don't go for all type of fancy touch-ups to your database file. Let it be the way it is looking. Only then you will get the output properly. Okay. So the problem statement is there in front of you, right? The prerequisite, you have created a database file called as class underscore 5a, where you are having details of each employee, correct? And each employee details, you are storing totally 6 details: employee code, name, designation, company, location, and salary. Like that, you are having 5 employees. Okay. So each employee details is called as record. Understand, database file is actually made up of fields and records, right? So in this particular database file, we have 6 fields and 5 records. Is it clear, all of you? Right? We have 6 fields and 5 records. Okay, I think I have got a question in the chat box. Hmm. Yeah, we have missed out now. See, that's the beauty of VA editor and Unix. It will never give you any error message. Nodi. Correct. Our CEO Brandon felt very bad that I did not write the location. Sorry, Brandon, but there is always a scope of improvement. And thanks for reminding me, Brandon. All right. So our Brandon is in Singapore. So good. Whenever we go to Singapore, Chandanashri, Brandon will be there to take care of us. Right. So good. Uh, anyway, so let me come back to the track. So we have totally 6 fields and we have 5 records, right? So I'll just display once again. So 6 fields and 5 records, right? Each of these records belongs to Chandanashri, Brandon, myself, Rashmi, and Amit. Okay. Now let us see how we can land up using the cut command. Okay. Are you all ready? Reply me in the chat box. Are you all ready? Good, good, good. Okay. Take down the question. Display names of all employees. That's the question. The question is display names of all employees. Okay. So see the question. The question is display names of all the employees. Andre bari employee name barbeko. I do not want anything else. Understand? I do not want anything else. And that is the prime reason we don't use commands like cat, head and tail, because you know now that those commands basically cut the file horizontally. ಇವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು, we have to cut the file vertically, right? And that is where I'm going to use the next set of commands which are available in Unix. Okay, so the question is display names of all the employees. Now watch out. You have already seen the syntax of the cut command. Now I'll convert that syntax into equivalent example. Cut. Got it? Slowly. Urgent enu illa. Okay. Afterwards, when you have a doubt, you post the question in the chat box. Cut is a command. Parallelly, have a look at the syntax. Minus D stands for delimiter. Okay. Minus D stands for delimiter. This delimiter should be enclosed in double quotes. Correct? Now, which delimiter? The delimiter that you have used as a programmer in your database file. Okay, so be careful. What you are going to give here is the input field delimiter. Input field delimiter, which is also called as IFS, capital IFS, which stands for input field separator. Right? Separator or delimiter, both are one and the same. Now, what is the delimiter you have used in this database file? I have used colon as a delimiter. So that colon I will give it here. Watch out carefully. I have enclosed the delimiter in the pair of opening and closing double quotes. Okay, opening and closing double quotes. Okay, now what is your question or what is the task that you want to do? You want to display the names of all the employees. Okay, please understand. You want to display the names of all the employees. So this I can understand and you can understand, right? Now the moment I ask you a question, hey, can you tell me the names of all the employees? Every one of you will say Chandan Shri, Brandon, Gurupsad, Rashmi and Amit Jain. But then how are you going to communicate to Unix operating system? You cannot stand in front of Ubuntu or Fedora or Linux and say, hey, display names of all the employees. Correct. And the beauty of this is it will simply keep quiet because Unix has got a lot of patience. Jump madu, egaradu, suicide madko, he will not display the names of all the employees. Right? So you have to basically tell Unix in the way he understands. Agreed? In the way he understands. So where is the names of all the employees stored in your database file? I mean, in which field you have names of all the employees? Can you give me the answer? In which field of your database file you have names of all employees? Correct. Okay, good, good. It is in second field. So what I'll say, minus field means F. Watch out carefully. F means field, right? Followed by 2. Andre second field anta artha. Okay, be careful. Minus F2 means second field. Got it, all of you? Minus F2 means second field followed by the file name. What's the file name? Class underscore 5A. Understand? Okay. So the question is display names of all the employees from the file class 5A. And the answer is there in front of you. Cut, which is a command. Minus D is a delimiter. Colon is a delimiter used in the database file. F2 is the second field. Class 5A is the file name. Okay. Now, one more thing you have to understand as a Unix programmer is names of all the employees Unix ಗೆ output ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಮೇಲೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. Please understand, Unix is not aware that the output that I am going to display for you is names of all the employees. No. What Unix says is, boss, you have asked me to display the second field. I am going to display it. That's all is my job. I am going to extract the second field from your database file and I am going to display it. I am not interested. Please understand that. Okay, so that is how Unix treats all the programmers and the file contents, right? Now watch out the output of this. Have a look at it. Now tell me honestly, will I get this output through cat, head or a tail? I want exactly same output. Will I get it through cat, head or tail? You won't get it, correct? You won't get it because they are commands which will cut your file horizontally, right? But cut command will cut your file vertically. Got it? Okay. So let us see a couple of more examples and then I will give you a chance to ask the doubts. Let us say now, let me ask Brandon only. Brandon, you are interested in what? Text me. There's a database file. What is it that you want to have as output? What is it that you are looking for? Okay. Brandon is looking for employee ID. Okay, I mean, that's very simple. I have to just say employee ID is in first field, Brandon. So I just say that's all. It's very simple. Okay, fine. I'll help you, all of you. Let us say I want to display the name of the employee and the location where they are working. Okay, so that's the question. Display names of all employees and the location where they are working. Make a note of it because your next assignment will be revolving these type of commands. Display names of all the employees and the location where they are working. So cut minus D, delimiter minus. Tell me names of all employees comes in which field? Correct, second field. And the location where they are working? Correct, fifth field. So you just put comma. So be careful. Whenever I say minus F2 comma 5, minus F2 comma 5 means display the second field and fifth field. Artha, it is not the range. It is not 2 to 5, wherein it will display 2, 3, 4, 5. Illa. 2 comma 5 means display second field and fifth field of which file? Class 5A. Okay. So what you will get in the first line? Chandanashri, Germany. Brandon, Singapore. See here. Is it correct? The names of the employees and where they are working? Okay, good. Now let us say I want to display names of the employee, their designation and the company. Okay, name of the employee, designation and the company. Again, Martini, I can write it like this: 2, 3, 4, because the second field is name, third field is designation, and the fourth field is company. Okay, see here. But then when you closely observe these fields that you have displayed just now, 2, 3, 4, they are continuous, alva. So when it is a continuous, that time cut command provides you one more way of doing it. You can use hyphen. Artha ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. You can use hyphen 2 hyphen 4, where hyphen stands for range 2 to 4 anta artha. Okay, when you say 2 hyphen 4, it is nothing but field 2, field 3 and field 4, which is as good as telling 2 3 4. See here, we will get the same output. Have a look at the output carefully. The output generated when I gave fields like this, and the output generated when I gave fields like this. Okay. Okay. Next. Get on the question. Display names of first 3 employees. Display names of first 3 employees. Got it? So I'm going to cut the second field, and the output of that second field I'll send as an input to the head command, which will display the first 3 lines. So this is the output. Is it the name of first 3 employees? Okay. Similarly, I want to say display the names of last 2 employees. So instead of head, I'll end up telling tail -2. It will display Rashmi and Amit Jain. Okay. Got it? So that is how basically the cut command works, right? So we will not start the next command because it will take some time. So you have any specific question, please ask me. Yeah, no doubt. Or anything you want to be done with this database file, please tell me. Okay. Okay, so there is one question which says replace colon by space. So cat cl star. So what I say is cat 5a. Okay, so the question is replace colon by space. Sorry. Yeah, done. There is one more question. Can we use colon and pipeline for separation in the same line? You can use Unix will not give any error, but then the doubt is on the output that you get actually, correct? So please understand it is not a program file where you can send the file name as a parameter to the CC command and check for errors, right? So it's a simple database file which is more or less like a text file only. It's an ordinary file as well, correct? So avoid that actually. Yeah, any other doubts? I'll give one more application. Nice one. I was expecting you people to ask me these doubts. Take the question. Display names of employees in capital letters, in uppercase. Display names of employee in uppercase. Okay, so that is what I have given. I hope you have understood it. That's the beauty of Unix. I love it. Correct? Then again, the same thing. Yeah, any other doubts? We can also have display names of the first three employees in capital letters. Okay, display names of first three employees in capital letters. So same thing you continue, and but only thing what you do is you again pipe it to head minus 3. So it will display the names of first three employees in capital letters, right? So this is how basically you can build the piping mechanism purely based on your application. Okay, so if you recollect, I told you that there is no end for the development of piping mechanism. You keep on telling the application. The only thing is if that particular application cannot be carried out with the help of one command, then we will definitely land up building the piping mechanism, right? So it purely depends upon what you want to build, correct? And as a intelligent programmer, you have to ensure that you build a correct piping mechanism, which not only gives output, but it is also more effective in terms of using the number of commands in the piping mechanism. Okay, so I think we can stop here. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, we will call it off for the day. Good. So no doubts. All right. Thank you very much and take care.